How's it going, guys? Lord Helix here for another Team Fortress 2 gameplay commentary. This time I'm playing as a spy again, by the way, and this time through this video I'm not going to be focusing on the gameplay. I'm not going to be talking about it because I was asked to talk about my main loadout and my favorite and least favorite weapons for spy. So now this was a bit hard for me to do because I don't really have a least favorite weapon for spy. All the weapons are sort of situational, so I had to sort of think about it for a bit, write it down a bit, get proper reasons. But anyway, now I'll get onto my main loadout, which you see me use a lot, which is the Ambassador, the default knife, or as I'm using the Black Rose, which is simply a reskin of the default knife, and the Dead Ringer and the default Sapper. Now the reason I use this loadout primarily is because it's a very offensive loadout, and that's how I like to play as spy. I play really offensively. The reason is the Ambassador, it's a good long-range weapon. You can sort of pick apart your opponents from like a distance, which is what I really like, sniping, getting headshots, getting them down. The slowed down bullet speed doesn't bother me that much. It just goes with my playstyle. Nothing against the other weapons, the other guns, I quite like them, except I'll explain my least favorite one later. Yeah, but nothing against the other guns. It's all sort of situational for me, all the weapons and as spy. Now, my favorite knife, the reason why I chose the default knife is because it doesn't have a downside, and I feel like the downsides of the other knives sort of, take away the offensiveness of how I like to play. Like, say if you use the kunai, what that does is, you get put on 60 health, but every time you get a backstab, you steal your opponent's health, which is really good, because it means you can have a nice overheal. But once you're sort of close range, if you don't have that overheal, you only got 90 HP, pretty much anything can kill you. Like a pyro can take you out really easily, a soldier can like shoot you once with a rocket, demo man can take you down. It's all really, you can die really easily, which is pretty annoying for me. The Spicicle, I like to play offensively, and as soon as I get touched by a pyro or anything fire related, I'm going to lose my knife, and that can be really annoying because it means I have to back up, leave, wait for my knife to get back. Like I said in my Spicicle video, it really depends on how you want to play with the Spicicle, nothing against it. And then there's the Big Earner, which is, I'll explain a bit more because that's what I put as my least favorite weapon for spy, knife-wise, which I'll explain later on. Now, the reason I use the Dead Ringer is, like I said, I like to play offensively. These are also, by the way, my more favored weapons in sort of general. I'll explain, I guess, my seconds to them, my closest. But yeah, so the Dead Ringer is really good for offensive because it means you can get in close. If you're in any danger, you can whip out the Dead Ringer, take a bit of damage, just leave, which is really good. It really works for my offensive playstyle. The other invis watches, you have to really play defensively, especially, you have to sneak around, and that's just not how I like to play. Now, so those are pretty much my favorite weapons. I have to say, as close seconds, I'd probably put gun-wise maybe the Enforcer or the Latranger. Probably the Latranger because of the fact that you don't do as much damage, but you get 15 plus cloak on a successful kill, I think it is. I'm trying to remember exactly, and I think you have 20+% extra cloak. I'm trying to, I'll put up the stuff up on thing. I don't really use any other guns as of much. I usually only use the Ambassador, but Latranger, that's probably my second favorite gun. And then knife, I'd have to have say the kunai, even though I said, it doesn't really go with my offensive playstyle, I still think it's a really fun knife to use because you get that overheal, which can be really useful sometimes. Now, onto my least favorite weapons for spy. Like I said, I had to sort of think about this for a while. I ended up going with, gun-wise, with the default revolver. The reason being is because it's sort of a close-range weapon. There's no upside or no downside, which is, I guess, can be useful, but the way I play, like I said, offensively, I can't pick apart opponents from a distance, which is something I really like to do while playing spy, being able to see an opponent off in the distance, shooting him down, taking off chunks of health with headshots, getting crits, all that sort of stuff. I can't do that with the revolver, it doesn't work like that. It's good if you're like sort of really up in their face, or if like they're right in front of you and you're freaking out, you can whip out the revolver, knock them down, possibly kill them, which is like, like I said, I don't really have anything against, I don't really have a least favorite, but I've had to choose out of the guns, revolver would be my least favorite. Onto knives, I ended up going with the Big Earner, like I said. Because what I mean, it takes your health down to like 100, like takes 25% of your health down or whatever, or 25 HP points from your health, which one yet again doesn't go with my offensive playstyle. It's really annoying to have to deal with that less health, and all it does is give you that extra cloak, which I don't really care that much about. I mean, the extra cloak isn't really that useful to me at all. Because, yeah, I mean, there's always ammo pack somewhere, especially if you know a map as a spy. You should always know where an ammo pack is. So the extra cloak doesn't really bother me. Isn't really that useful to me as, as much as, having that extra health. That'd probably be my least favorite knife. And onto the Invis watches, I'd have to say the Cloak and Dagger, because you really have to play defensively. You can't pick up ammo packs to get your cloak back. The only way to get your cloak back is standing still, which is useful because it means you can hide in the corner, like invisible, wait for an opponent to come out, and then just get the backstab. But that just doesn't go with my offensive playstyle. The default Invis watch is more offensive because you can have really long cloak just by collecting ammo packs, and it's not as, I don't know, it's just weird. But out of the Invis watches, I really sort of like all of them. It's all sort of situational, as every weapon for Spy is. Pretty much every weapon in TF2, it's all situational. It all depends on how you want to play, how you want to do things. So, yeah, and I guess out of the two sappers, my least favorite is the red tape recorder, even though there's not that much choice from the sappers. There's only two. The red tape recorder is simply because it doesn't actually do damage to it doesn't actually do damage to the buildings. It just debuilds them, which is useful if they have a level 3 sentry and you sort of need to help get rid of it for the team. You can debuild it. Goes back to like level 1. They still have it, but they have to waste their metal on rebuilding up the sentry. But overall, I just prefer the sapper in general, the default sapper in general, as most people. So I guess that's my least favorite weapons and my main loadout. I mean, there's not much. A lot of the spy weapons are it depends on how you want to play in your playstyle. For me, my loadout I use often the Ambassador, the default knife, and the Dead Ringer. It's how I like to play, very offensively, and that's just the way I play spy. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, spread it around, do whatever. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.